Welcome to the Service Academy Information Channel. This is where you can find all types of information on gaining admissions to the Service Academies, getting a congressional nomination, and sometimes Service Academy news. And let's get into today's topic. Today we are going to do a resume review of a young person that sent in their resume, and we're going to compare that resume to the academies that person wishes to attend. The two academies are the United States Naval Academy and the United States Air Force Academy. For privacy's sake, I will not show you the person's resume. I will tell you that the person comes from a western state, one of the square states out there, and their first choice, I believe, is the Air Force Academy, but they also attended summer seminar at the Naval Academy. So let's get right into this one. So the first thing you're going to see here on the screen is the class profile, the latest class profile for the United States Naval Academy. And we're going to compare his resume against that academy. So let's get going. Okay, so this person is a varsity athlete. He's a varsity athlete in track and field, and he is also a varsity athlete in rock climbing. I've never heard of rock climbing as a varsity sport, but then again, I live here on the East Coast. We don't have many things to climb other than bridges and buildings. So congratulations to him for that. So track and field and rock climbing, he has a varsity letter in each. One thing I don't know, and I had written a note to him, is that does your school give out a varsity letter once? So if you get a varsity letter, you get it once, or do you get it for every year that you qualify as varsity? And the reason I ask that is because some of the senators and congressmen count varsity letters. So if you're a 3-season track guy and you get a varsity in every season, you'll get 3 varsity letters for summer or spring track. Or this person might have just got 1 varsity letter. Just a question, just something to look at. So he checks the box on varsity letter winner. So let's go to the next category that he checks the box on. That is a team captain. He is a co-captain of the rock climbing club, the rock climbing team, I apologize, the rock climbing team. He's a co-captain of the rock climbing team. So that definitely counts as a team captain. Obviously it's a varsity sport, so he checks that box, and he fits in well so far with the profile for the United States Naval Academy. And we're going to go to the next box here to click, and I have to read here. He is a student body. Yes, he checks off the student body. He is a committee chairman for his student government at school. And in addition to being the committee chairman, he is also responsible for many fundraising activities and many outside activities in the community. And if you watch this channel, or if you go back and look at my previous videos, you know that community service is a big thing. And this young man has achieved not only being a committee chairman in a student government, but he is also very involved in the community and raising money for outside sources. So he really checks 2 boxes here. So we're going to move on to the next one. The next one I gave him credit for, but I don't know if the Naval Academy would give him credit for. It's musical activities such as band, marching band, drumline, things such as that. But this guy is the president of the theater club. So I imagine they would do some musicals and stuff like that. So once again, he has a leadership role. He's the president of the theater club. He was in state competitions and they won. So once again, he checks that box. He has a musical background, and he has leadership experience, and something that's really kind of non-traditional if you look at the academy's background, such as scouts, Civil Air Patrol, things such as that. So president of the theater club, congratulations, that's a good one. All right, he is also the president of the National Honor Society. So another leadership position and another important group to belong to, the National Honor Society. They just don't hand that out. So obviously he has very good grades. He's done well, and that Honor Society, his school, has selected him as president. So once again, a leadership experience. And if you look underneath that, and I failed to check that, but there's work experience. This person actually does have a job. He has worked as an intern for a state senator and for a congressperson. So that counts as a job, and that's an important job, being an intern. I'm sure that's not running and getting coffee and making copies, but interns do a lot of other things, such as deal with constituents and stuff like that. So that's an important job, and he'll get credit for that also. So we're going to move on to the next one, which is academics, right? Academics, always a big one. So this young man has very high SATs. He has a 740 verbal and a 700 math, brings him to a 1440 total SATs. Now, as you know, 800 and 800 are the best. 700 is not that bad. The only suggestion that I would have for him so far is concerning the SATs. If you can go back and take the SATs here in August and September and get that SAT number up, even if it's 10 or 20 points, that will just move you up higher in the stack. So a 1440 SAT is not shabby, but a higher SAT would serve you well to go and take that test again, especially on the math side. You have a high verbal, 740, that's fine. But a 700 math, if you can get that up to 740, that would be fantastic. So now we're going to move on to the next group here, which is the United States Air Force Academy. So take a look here. This is the latest class profile for the United States Air Force Academy. Very similar to the United States Naval Academy. So we're just going to walk quickly through the Air Force Academy here. So just to start off here with sports, he checks the box for sports, for track, and we're going to go to the next box, and he checks the box once again for varsity athlete. I would imagine that most people that go to the service academies, as proved out by these charts that the academies put out, do play organized sports, and they are varsity letters in one way or the other. I think one varsity letter is probably the minimum for any service academy. And just like for the United States Naval Academy, I also gave him credit for the theater club for being in a dramatic presentation, and that the Air Force Academy also scores that. So I'm sure they did dramatic performances in the theater club, and that gets scored also for the Air Force Academy. So moving on, we have the student government. He was a committee chair and a part of the student government. Those boxes are checked here for the Air Force Academy. And unlike the United States Naval Academy, the Air Force Academy gives you credit for being in Boy State, and he was in Boy State. Once again, National Honor Society, they get credit for that. And because his GPA was 3.84, I assume he was in the top 10% in the class, and he gets credit for that also. And for his SATs, these next two slides show that he falls right in line for the math score of 700 and the verbal score of 740. So that's kind of a bounce up of his resume against the class profile of the United States Naval Academy and the United States Air Force Academy. I just want to discuss this person's resume to wrap this up. And the reason I want to discuss this resume is I just want to run through this resume again. And I want you folks out there to take note that this is the type of competition that you're up against. So out there in my videos, I say you got to do this, you got to do that. This resume really encompasses all those things. And I'm just going to go from the top to the bottom really quickly here. So just bear with me. He's in two sports. He has varsity letters in both sports. He's involved not just in sports, he's involved in student council, an important activity. He's involved in a club, the theater club. He's the president and does stuff within and outside the school. He's president of the National Honor Society, Once again, not just a sports related thing, but an important organization within the school, an important academic program. He's also a volunteer for a outside legal activity. I will not go into that because I don't want to expose his identity. And he attended Boys State. He works. He's worked an intern. He works as a DJ. He's interned for a state senator and a congressman. He has a excellent GPA of 3.4. That's a weighted. His unweighted is 3.62. I'll give him the 3.84. He's in the top of his class. His SATs 700, 740. He attended the Naval Academy Summer Seminar. Big plus. He's taken all types of AP classes: history, biology, physics, calculus, all honors classes, and is actually taking classes at a local college in business, finance, algebra, and trig. So this is the competition that you're up against. You're up against guys like this who try to check as many boxes as possible. And this guy has done a really good job. Like I said, the only recommendation I would give to this young man is to take that SAT again and get that SAT up there. Will this young man get into the Naval Academy or the Air Force Academy? I don't know. He might interview terribly. He might have too many people in his district or his state that want to go to either or academy. All those factors, and if you watch my videos, you know there's a lot of factors involved in that. Did he do everything that he possibly could do? Yes, this guy did everything that he possibly could do, except for the SAT. Now, I'm not saying that the SAT is going to keep him out. I am not saying that at all. But the higher you get on an SAT, the better your chances. So that's all I have. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you see your sophomores and juniors out there that are watching this. I hope you see the type of competition that is out there. You're up against people like this. So to this young man, thank you for sending that resume in. To all of you out there, do your best, and I hope you get what you want. Bye now.